welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm the author of the young adult fantasy Firian Rising, and this is English Nerd. So today I wanted to talk about a few ways that you can come up with new story ideas. Now, this isn't always a problem for people who write, but whether you're coming up with a brand new idea or maybe you're in the middle of a larger project and you're having trouble coming up with some ideas for that, here are just some ways that you can kind of unstick yourself and come up with some really good story ideas. I don't know what's going on with the light. It's kind of a stormy day outside and I have a candle going. Anyway, if the light starts flashing, I apologize. So here are a few suggestions, ways that you can come up with new story ideas. So number one is just list tropes and elements of stories that you really like seeing. Maybe you don't have a full idea formed. I mean, that's why you're coming up with them, right? But you know that you like enemies to lovers. You know that you like when, I don't know, you know that you like certain kinds of banter. You know, if you listen to The Creative Pen with Joanna Penn, that podcast, she loves thunderstorms and she puts one in like every single one of her books. So just make a list of some of those things that you really like to see and then form a story around those things that make them all make sense together. I mean, if you like those things, then there's bound to be somebody else who really enjoys the same kind of stuff. Number two, I'm sure that I've mentioned before, but it seriously is a great way to get unstuck if you are, especially if you're in the middle of a project and you're not coming up with something brand new, but, well, I mean, it works for brand new stuff too. Just ask, what if, and then don't censor yourself at all. Just go absolutely wild. What if this character suddenly did this? What if this huge plot twist happened? What if? And you'll be amazed at some of the stuff that comes out. Not all of it's usable, obviously. A lot of it's going to be just complete nonsense, but it gives your mind the kind of creative play freedom to come up with those ideas that are going to unstick you. There's a character in my series that I knew should end up with somebody, and I tried to put them kind of with different people. You know, what if, and finally there was something that clicked, that made sense, and it was like, oh, okay, and so I was able to go ahead with that. So yes, ask what if. Okay, number three is use social media. Now, social media can kill ideas just because it's such an overload of things all at once, but there are lots of places where you can find good story prompts. Like on Pinterest, for instance, there are whole boards of just story prompts, ways to get yourself thinking creatively, or, you know, first lines, or whatever really works for you. One kind of fun prompt that I've heard is so you take all the songs that you have, you put them all on shuffle, and the first song is going to be the personality of your main character. The second song is going to be the tone of the story, you know, and so on and so forth. And then you end up with a full-fledged kind of randomized story based on your music preferences. So there are lots of things like that. It doesn't have to be Pinterest. You can go on Instagram or Twitter or whatever platform you tend to like, and there are plenty of places that just have those prompts for you. Another way that you can go, if you have a story in mind or a series or whatever, is kind of asking your characters. So you can do an exercise where you talk to the character kind of in an interview style, and you'll ask a question and they'll answer in their voice. This can be good for coming up with new ideas for stories as well. If you have a character but maybe not what the whole story is going to be about, ask them what do they want? What have they tried so far to get it? What have been the failures on that path so far? And that can be another way that is creative enough to kind of break out of that rut that you've been in. Another way that I break out of ruts, in fact, this has been the main way lately, and really for the last couple years, if I'm honest, is if I'm starting to feel completely dried out, like I do not have the right ideas for my story, I need ideas, I want ideas, but they're just not coming to me, is that I unplug from social media completely, because that just ends up taking me down into this slumpy spiral, and I emerge an hour later having played all these phone games and stuff. So I unplug from that, and I take a shower, I go for a walk, and I listen to some music instead of a book. Normally I listen to audiobooks when I take walks, but I'll listen to music instead, and it's amazing how much just comes organically to mind. Kind of apparently it was stewing in the background, and then it just comes forward. So make sure that you have some way to take notes. Like it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. I took one of those walks with the music, and I would stop every now and then and type a note in my phone when I came up with an idea, and I had like 8 different things written down by the time I got home. So that has been a lifesaver, especially for my current project, which is the last book in the Tanyuan Academy series. So Firian Rising, Into the Unreal, and then title to be determined, the 3rd book, but I'm getting close to the end. And if all that fails, if you still are just not coming up with things that you really like, then take the pressure off yourself for a while, maybe a day or 2 or a week, and just read. Fill the well of creativity and listen to other people's voices and other people's ideas and the way that they do dialogue and how they amp up the stakes and all those things that make a good story. Sometimes you'll be surprised by how books can inspire you in ways that you weren't expecting. Like not to copy them or anything, but like I've read books that have it just feels like they've given me permission to write in certain ways, to be extra flowery or not to be flowery at all, or to write that character that just seems so off the wall, or something that you just maybe felt there wasn't an audience for. It's cool when you read books and you find out, no, actually there's totally an audience for this, and let's just go at it. And that can be all that it takes to get you thinking and coming up with all those new ideas that you need. So if you have any other ways that you've come up with story ideas, I know there are just a million, but these are a few ways to kind of jumpstart that process, then put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And make sure to subscribe for more English nerdy goodness. I will see you on Monday. Bye.